Hey YouTube, welcome back to Aqua Menagerie. As you're probably aware, no fish room or fish collection is complete without baby brine shrimp. So I decided it's time to jump on board and start hatching out baby brine shrimp. And first things first, I'm just dipping my toes in this, so I want it to be as cheap and easy as possible. I don't have time to be resetting my hatchery multiple times per day or feeding my fish multiple times per day. So I'm setting this up as minimalistic as possible so I can work on it for 2 minutes once per day. And I've set this up mostly with stuff that I already have on hand, and you probably already have on hand as well. So I want to take a quick minute here and talk about the materials that I'm using and the method, and then I'll show you the process. We'll feed my fish live baby brine shrimp for the first time, and hopefully this video will inspire you to take the leap and set something like this up for yourself. So let's jump right into it. So here we are in my laundry room. I just took down some shelving in my garage. When I bought this house, the previous owner had put tons and tons of shelves up in the garage, way too many, so I've been taking them down. And I just was able to cut down one of the melamine shelves and repurpose 2 of the shelf brackets. So I threw that up earlier today, nice and easy. And the 6-foot extension cord, the outlet splitter, the 2 lights, that was all stuff that I just had laying around that I was able to scrounge up. Same with the glass jars. The one on the left is a 1-gallon milk jug. That gallon of milk's like $5.50 at Albertsons, and now I have a jar forever. And next time I go grocery shopping, I'll get another one. Once I drink all the milk and clean it out, I'll have 2 of the jars, just like the one on the left. The one on the right was something I had full of coins, and I just emptied all the coins out, rinsed it out, and there we go. That's what I'm going to use for the meantime. But just for fun, I decided to add up the costs of literally every single thing as if you had none of this stuff. So I have this mini little air pump here, which was $10 on Amazon. The tubing, the air stones, the 3-way splitter, all the bits and pieces came in a kit that I had bought like a year ago for probably 10 or 15 bucks. Obviously you need some brine shrimp eggs, so I decided to start off with a 10-gram little bottle from Aquarium Co-op, which was $6. And then some of this other stuff, like I have measuring cups in my kitchen obviously, but when I was at Albertsons I saw this little measuring cup, and I'm going to be measuring tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of eggs. So this is a nice little measuring cup for that, and this was $3.50. One-time purchase, now I got it forever. What else? The extension, 6-foot extension cord, the little 3-way splitter. Both of these you can grab them at Home Depot or Amazon, and they're $7 to $10 each. Salt. I also had salt in my kitchen already, but I wanted to just get a separate container. So while I was at Albertsons, $3 or $4, natural sea salt, non-iodized, and that's really it. The lights, those 2 lights came from my first couple of aquariums several months back. They both honestly were kind of impulse buys on Amazon, and they were $8 to $10 each, so I'm just calling it $20. I also have another light I could use. It's more of like a strip light, a 2-foot strip light that I could just hang from this closet pole. So, you could use an old lamp, whatever you have laying around would work. That's all there is to it. So my setup as it is right now, if you went and bought every single thing, it would run you $70. But like I've said, I'm sure you have half of this stuff at home already. So you could probably do it for a lot less. So the way this works is I'm going to measure out 1 liter of water. I'm not even going to bother with any dechlorinator. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of salt and 1 tablespoon of eggs, or it can be half a tablespoon of eggs, or even less, depending on how many tanks you have. If you don't have very many tanks, maybe you don't need very much. gonna have to play with those quantities and figure out what works, because like I said, this is my first time going through this process. So I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon and see if that gives me way too many, and just kind of see how that goes. I'm not gonna bother with heating the hatcheries. I know that if you heat them to 82 degrees, then you'll get most of the eggs to hatch within 24 hours. But at room temperature, which for me is like 70, 72 degrees, something like that, it may be 24 to 48 hours, which is totally fine. That's why I have 2 here. So I'm gonna set one up now. I'm gonna set the other one up tomorrow. And then the next day, 48 hours, I'm gonna use the first one and reset it. And then the day after that, I'm gonna use the second one and reset it. So I just have 2, and I'm gonna use one every other day. So I'm gonna give them 48 hours at room temperature. There we go. And I'm sure in time, I may try to optimize this and get more and more efficient at it, but I'm just making it as easy and cheap as possible just to start. So all that being said, let's go ahead and start with this one on the right. I'm going to start by just closing this little valve here to shut off the air on the right side. And I'll just let that hang over the sink. Empty that jug. Next, I'm going to measure out 1 liter of water. Okay, next step, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of salt. You can look up the ratio that you need for salt. I don't know the exact ratio, but I do know that 1 liter of water, 2 tablespoons of salt, and you're good. I did quite a bit of research before deciding to buy these eggs, and from what I can see, mostly from watching like Dean's fish room videos, it looks like Aquarium Co-op really has a good formula, so we're gonna test it out. I started off with the 10-gram container, which was $6, and I'm sure by the time we finish this, I'll probably get the big tub after that. And when you get brine shrimp eggs, keep them in your freezer. That's an important step. We'll start with a little less than 1 tablespoon. So we'll let this sit for 24 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll set up the jug on the left, same exact process, and we'll check on the one on the right and see if we're seeing any shrimp swimming around just yet. And then in 48 hours, we will do our first harvest. So stay tuned. All right, here we are. It's been 24 hours. We're gonna go ahead and get the left side set up here. So this is the last time this jar will ever look this clean. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kill the air. Just let that hang over the sink. I'm gonna start with an empty jar. Next, we're going to add our brine shrimp eggs. There they go. Here we are. Now, I suspect that the milk jar on the left here is going to do a better job. I just feel like it's a better shape. So next grocery trip this weekend, I'm going to get a second one and then have the same setup on both sides. This, of course, is the jar that we set up yesterday, so it's been going for 24 hours now. And I'm not sure that I'm actually seeing any hatched baby brine shrimp just yet. I feel like I'm mostly just seeing, or entirely just seeing, eggs circling around. So we're going to give it another 24 hours, and hopefully this time tomorrow we should see a clear difference between eggs and shrimp. So stay tuned. Alright, we're back in the laundry room here, and it's now been 48 hours since we started this jar on the right, and 24 hours since we started this one on the left. So we're going to go ahead and do our first harvest and see if this worked. And just looking at the eggs as they're tumbling, I don't feel like I can actually see any hatched baby brine shrimp. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the air and just let everything settle for a few minutes, and then take another look. Alright, after letting the jar kind of settle for a few minutes, we can already see just countless baby brine shrimp swimming around in there. All the eggs have floated to the surface. So if you look around on YouTube some more, there's DIY tutorials for shrimp hatcheries where you have some sort of like a spigot down on the bottom so you can drain from the bottom. And then it just makes it easier to filter. I don't have that option yet, but I already see the value in that, so I'm sure that's going to be a update. Maybe in 6 months I'll do like a how I've updated my shrimp hatchery, but there's definitely a million shrimp in there, so we're going to go ahead and filter them out. So there's one more piece of equipment that I forgot to mention, and that is a sieve. And so this kit was less than $10 on Amazon, and you can see these two nets here labeled 1 and 2, so 1 on top, 2 on the bottom. And this should catch all of the eggs, and then the bottom one will catch all of the actual shrimp. There we can really start to see the coloration. So the orange is the shrimp, and that's all waste up top. It's definitely not the most graceful process, but I think we got some success. So let's go ahead and feed what we got. Well, here we are back in the laundry room. Just finished feeding the tanks. I could tell the fish really enjoyed that, so that was cool to see. I just reset this tank this jar that we started with, and tomorrow I'll be using the jar on the left. So that's going to be the process going forward, just alternating jars. I think with a little bit of experience, I'll be able to get this whole thing down to 5 or 10 minutes to filter out the shrimp, feed the tanks, and then get it reset. So hopefully that video was helpful. Hopefully it showed you that you can do this pretty cheaply, and mostly with stuff you probably already have laying around the house if you have fish tanks. Please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm working on a couple different videos right now that I've been recording clips and updates for the last couple months, and still going to be a few weeks out, but I do have some videos in the works. So if you're interested, then feel free to subscribe, and thank you for watching.